Got it.
Huzzah.
All right. So, last time on A Crown of Cold Iron, our heroes were in a bit of an interlude session. Having successfully dismantled the Buchanan branch of Cawthorn, Allen, Tar, and Smith, the Fae front operation that has been pestering Lexi's Bar lose with various legal threats the whole campaign. You all, well, you handled it in the way you usually do, with overwhelming violence.
And fire.
Yes, intending only to infiltrate and maybe scope out some secrets, you all found yourselves sucked into a Fey trap and had to fight your way through ranks of Fey felines to reach the third floor where you fought Buchan himself. Previously appearing to Lexi as the lawyer Buchanan, Buchan revealed himself to be a massive ancient luck eater, a huge opalescent creature, almost like an oversized opalescent saber-toothed tiger. You all successfully defeated him, at which point he turned or was reduced to a very, very large, strange claw. You retrieved the claw, you retrieved all kinds of incriminating evidence, which you went on to give to Lady Bryn, the deputy ambassador of the Parliament of the Fae to the human realm. Now, you all are seeking more information about a strange warehouse that has showed up in multiple threads of investigation. It has showed up as belonging to Cawthorn, Allen, Tar, and Smith. You also tracked one of the giant invisible cats that attacked you all previously back to that location. And you've also found out that it previously belonged to a group called the Weirwood, who were associates of Maine, a fey woman and master of conjuration and teleportation magic. So you are now seeking the aid of the Weirwood to drive off whoever has taken control of their warehouse and potentially use their portal for yourself. All of this, of course, in an effort to enter Faerie and retrieve Mort, Cyrus's uncle and, in some ways, magical progenitor. Oh, what tangled webs we have woven. But all that being said, seems like it's been a while since you all have leveled up. So I thought we would take a minute and bump y'all to level 8.
Ruh-roh.
What?
You all have hit a pretty big campaign milestone. You have dismantled the Buchan branch of Cawthorn, Allen, Tar, and Smith. A feat that should be rewarded with feats. So while that is happening, on your list you had potentially to do some shopping. The Midsum Pawn and Fine Goods owner B was mentioned as someone who might also know about a portal. You were also going to seek out the Weirwood, which did Maine actually give you all any specific information on how to find them?
I don't have any notes on that.
I was thinking she said she would make an introduction or could like give us a sense of where to start looking first.
All right, so that's on the table. You also have some potential upgrades to make when it comes to lose, especially with the pile of gold marks which you retrieved from the burning offices of Cawthorn, Allen, Tar, and Smith.
Worth all of those little burns.
What else? It's been a busy couple days.
Shoot, I don't have my ability scores, so I can't look at them.
Your ability scores are 16, 14, 16, 10, 11, 13.
Yeah, but they're not in the same. Are they in the same order as they are
Yeah.
on the
Strength,
is
dex,
that alphabetical from left to right?
It's strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma.
Okay, not the same order as it is on the D&D Beyond
Oh, on the drop down.
on the drop down menu. So I'm like,
that's weird.
great. Which one was 10 again?
10 is intelligence.
Okay. What was, I know I had another low one. That was like 11.
Your wisdom is 11.
Okay.
If you just wanted to shore up some stats,
Yeah.
you could split the increases on wisdom and charisma,
Okay.
which would get those up to a +1 and +2 respectively.
Okay.
That being said, you would get a lot of mileage out of going deeper on strength, dexterity, or constitution.
Okay.
You especially, because some of your hero light abilities trigger off of your constitution.
Right.
And as a barbarian, it increases your AC.
Okay. With when I do Constitution.
Yes.
Okay.
I get another spell.
Congratulations.
I need to know. Do I want to be a dick or do I want to be a real dick?
Oh dear.
That's what you love to hear.
My options are polymorph or banishment.
Those are both pretty rough. I honestly thought you would grab banishment immediately because it has interesting extra implications in this setting.
All the Fae just don't get to come back.
Yep.
Anytime I get a new level, I have to go for the fire spell first. It's just my character.
That's just who your character is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think banishment makes sense, especially because it's a non-lethal way to permanently remove them from the fight.
Okay.
I don't know if you had thought of this, but it's also potentially an emergency exit button for Cyrus and Lexi.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we're in the Feywild, I can just banish them back home.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
That being said, it might require some interesting experimentation to see what happens to you if you get banished.
Yeah.
That has your current what did they used to call it? Native outsider, what I think was the way they phrased it.
Right.
Your status is a bit of a question mark.
Yes, it is.
Banishment could be a really interesting thing to experiment with.
It could be. Didn't think about that.
All right, there we go.
So it looks like you took an ASI to bump dexterity and charisma up.
I did, yes.
Yeah.
Man, 15 AC on a on a sorcerer is no joke.
I keep dying. I need it.
Excuse me, this is true. I mean, Cyrus has 17, but also has uncanny dodge and evasion.
I have 15, but I also have 85 hit points.
Exactly. You have 85,
rage.
I have 58.
What?
And bear rage.
And bear
bear
rage. Yeah. So I went ahead and added strength and constitution in my points. So did one in each.
You might want to consolidate them
Okay.
because the odd numbers don't actually give you anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you do 2 in strength, that's more damage. If you do 2 in constitution, that's more hit points and more armor because you're a barbarian.
Yeah, then I should probably do more Constitution, shouldn't I?
Yeah, the base human drives me crazy
Yeah.
because the +1 across all your stats means that like you're going to have uneven stat bonuses almost guaranteed unless you're using point buy.
Yeah. Ooh, all right. Now I'm a 16 armor class and a 93 hit point.
Jeez.
As it should be.
I am a tank.
Yes.
This is also what keeps making the game more and more dangerous, really, for Auric and Cyrus, because when she's raging, Lexi functionally has 186 hit points.
Yep.
Cyrus has 38.
Wait, what?
+0 Constitution Rogue.
Okay.
I have +4
I
Constitution.
used to have a little bit more, and then I decided the way I kept playing Cyrus, I felt like the +1 in Wisdom actually fit the character better. But yes,
Yeah.
that means now after leveling up, I have 43 hit points at level 8.
Yeah, some of that's just the oddity of investigation and perception. Like, you almost have to have both to be a good, sort of spy type character.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got our level ups done. Where's your first stop?
Well, we already talked with Maine, right?
Yes, and I'll say that she's in a position to basically give you your next step with the Weirwood, however you'd like. Whether that's to set up a meeting, whether that's to physically go and facilitate. I also might have accidentally changed the name of the other leader of the Weirwood. But we've been going with Charles, so we'll stick with it. All right, so where to?
Well, we certainly want to meet with the Weirwood.
Yeah.
The only question is if we want Maine there to help provide our bona fides.
Yeah, I don't think we want to just roll up unannounced on these folks.
Right.
I think they've had enough of that in the last month.
Yeah, I think if Maine is willing to come along, if not, then we can just ask her to set the meeting up.
Mm-hmm.
But that feels like it's kind of creating a slightly more hostile environment.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know. I'm not sure she was having a great discussion with Charles at the bar. So
yeah, that was why I wasn't sure I wanted her to come.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Although you also saw some interesting pictures. Some of those surveillance pictures. The rockiness was always there in their relationship. That's not entirely new.
So yeah, I say we try to get her to set it up then.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Where do you want to have this meeting?
Do we trust them with Luz?
Yeah. Luz will kick them out if they're bad.
Point.
Will they be comfortable at Luz? I mean, I guess we can always.
Luz welcomes you if you behave.
I think Maine would cut in and be like, they're not going to be willing to go to lose.
Fair.
Okay.
Can we meet at Banner and Norton's, or is that still busted up?
I mean, the upstairs is perfectly fine.
Hey Tyler, do you have a back room?
Uh, so you've actually been around the back in Banner and Norton's. Um, let's see. Oh, I feel like we've had this conversation before. There was a map for Banner and Norton's, and I don't know what happened to it.
Oh.
I know that I had it though at one point. Yes, there is a back area, but it's there's not really a meeting space. It's more like the storage room that used to uh, lead down into the ring. There was like some bathrooms, and there was like a cut over to the kitchen.
Right. It's not really a place that we could meet privately.
No, really, the upstairs of Banner and Norton's is quite a bit smaller than Lou's.
Well, maybe if we meet them there and during an off time. Although it's not like we're discussing anything super private.
Yeah.
So, do you want to make this like an ASAP meeting?
Yeah, probably.
All right.
Yeah, or what we can.
So, Charles sends off, or sorry, Charles Maine sends off a message to Charles, which is answered too quickly. Let's be real, too quick. The the game is not strong there. So Charles responds very quickly. Maine has to explain a little bit of kind of what you all are thinking to get them on board. But the possibility of potentially either screwing over the people who push them out, or even perhaps getting their warehouse back, there's enough appeal there that they're willing to meet. So you've got about probably an hour to kill. They've got to kind of round some people up to come your way. Is there anything y'all want to do in an hour?
I don't think I've got anything to set up.
Yeah.
Yep. Drink.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you all haven't really gone in on the most subtle of magics, really. Mostly on the aggression side, not on the we will lay a careful trap.
What is a careful trap?
Although
Does that?
I am reminded that Lexi does have speak with animals and beast sense at will,
Yes.
which we have only ever used once.
Yep.
All my stuff is illusion or enchantment. It doesn't really make a trap.
Certainly not at this level. And Auric is banishment, burning hands, fireball, magic missile, minute meteor, scorching ray, wall of fire.
Fire, fire, fire.
All right. So you all
Say
kill an
hello to
hour.
my little friend,
Um,
Hitchfire.
you all kill an hour just kind of catching your breath. Todd, the bartender, is far too excited to hook you all up with some drinks of various sorts. And not too long after that, you all hear a vehicle kind of pull up outside. Um, it's there's just enough it's not actually a gravel parking lot, but it's in like a rough enough area of town that people sort of track gravel, and you hear just a little bit of crunch as a couple of vehicles roll up.
The parking lot hasn't been paved in years, and that's why there's the gravel
Yeah,
because it's all broken up pavement.
yeah. I mean, let's be real. So uh, Tyler and Banner have only had this place for like less than a year, and really they put almost 100% of their energy into the downstairs.
Yeah. Parking lot? Who needs a parking lot when you can just walk?
I mean, Banner didn't know what a car was a year ago.
Exactly. Walking is what we do here.
I feel like Tyler would also be I think Tyler has wrecked enough vehicles and is enough of just like a weird freewheeling free spirit that he's one of those people who just always either takes public transportation or walks or like hitchhikes.
Oh, yes. Definitely the hitchhiking.
Um,
That would definitely be something that Lexi had a conversation with him about the dangers of hitchhiking in foreign countries.
yeah. Um, Tyler has a long list of stories of crazy things that all start with, so there I was hitchhiking. And then it just goes downhill from there.
Tyler.
I'll say this, Lexi, you've probably put this together over the last year or so. If Tyler was a PC, Tyler would have the folk hero background.
Okay.
And you suspect that there is maybe a little bit of hero light magic amplifying his natural charisma. Because Tyler is not subtle. Tyler is not restrained. But somehow Tyler is still very, very likable.
Hits you like a brick.
Even in the midst of really screwing up somebody's world, Tyler smiles and they're just like, yeah, this is fine.
He's a lovable idiot. He's got so much charisma that it just oozes out of him, even when he's sticking his foot in his mouth. And you just can't help but find it kind of adorable in like a gross animal way, you know?
I mean, definitely not quite a golden retriever.
Yes.
Almost like if a golden retriever and a wolf had a feral puppy.
Yes.
But it grew up like Oliver and Company.
Yes.
That's sort of Tyler's vibe. Like tough, streetwise, feral, but in like a weird, cute, animated musical kind of way.
With all the golden retriever happy energy.
Yeah, definitely someone who it has been said a lot of blah blah blah, but he has a heart of gold. And yes, he has probably stolen a string of sausages with his mouth before. Just run off trailing behind.
Somebody called him a golden retriever one too many times.
Anyway, intimidating moment. Weirwood rolling up, crunching gravel, car doors open. And 3 people come out. It looks like one person who came separately, and then someone who drove Charles. So one of the sort of flunkies comes in first, and definitely like a very large build. You vaguely recognize this person from Banner and Norton's before. Definitely like in the human form that they walk in, pushing 7 feet. Just on that line between like definitely tall enough to be like head turning, but not quite in that threshold where you're like, this is definitely a non-human creature. But if they were like 1 inch taller, you might start to think that. Mm-hmm. You all can see through the illusion. It's kind of hard to say what. There's not like a neat D&D parallel for this. You might think of something like a svelte ogre, or a slightly ethereal looking half giant. Their real form pushes like 8 or 9 feet. Banner and Norton's does have exceptionally high ceilings, because in his full form, Banner himself is like 12 feet tall. He kind of shrinks to fit. And as he walks in, Maine doesn't get up. Maine is still sitting at her table, working on her stuff. She just kind of glances over and is like, Boctor? And he nods back. And then another one comes in. This one has more of a... Again, there is a Fae quality, but if you were to look this up in the monster manual, this would be something like a hobgoblin. But again, huge, ripped. There is definitely a... how do I put it? You would expect them to talk about... you'd expect them to talk about family a lot. That's kind of the vibe that they are projecting here.
So a bit mafia mob-esque.
Oh no, sorry. Fast and the Furious.
Oh, Fast and Furious. Okay, there we go. That kind of family.
Yeah. If you don't got family, you got nothing. I actually don't know if I've ever watched a Fast and the Furious movie, if I'm being 100% honest.
I don't know if I've ever watched a full one. I've definitely watched parts of one.
All I know is they start off, I think, racing and stealing cars, and then eventually it culminates in like Idris Elba playing a superhero.
Oh yeah, it got weird.
It got weird.
It got weird.
Anyway, they walk in and kind of step to either side of the door, just sort of waiting. And Charles walks through, and even in her sort of full Fae form, she's only about 7 feet tall, and her vibe is definitely more like, I mean, definitely like human weightlifter kind of build. And you all recognize her from down in the ring before, when she was trying to sort of persuade / coerce Maine into going with her. And everybody give me an insight check.
Rubber.
Oh, come on, computer. Oh, we roll in the air slowly. This is like slow motion die rolling. Where's it gonna land? 18.
Nice. So for some reason it's Lexi who clocks this. So Charles walks in, And Maine like just looks up for half a second and then makes kind of a little like and there's kind of a weird response. There is tension here.
Oh man.
Layers of tension, complex, big feelings happening.
God damn it. Are they ex-girlfriends? Are we dealing with a lesbian love triangle tonight?
Big feelings. We'll just say that. Maine otherwise does not really acknowledge their presence and continues to work. Banner is making no pretense. He has come out from the back where he must have been like working on the bindings for the basement, and has like very exaggeratedly like pulled up an oversized chair, pulled up another chair as a footrest, and had Todd bring him like a gigantic supersized like mug of ale, and it's just like sipping with contentment and like eating like bar peanuts like popcorn watching this, which just makes Maine, she's seething, but she doesn't want to give him the
Satisfaction.
the satisfaction of seeing her overreact. So Charl kind of like composes herself and then turns to you all. And I'll let you all decide who actually responds first. But she definitely turns and looks at Lexi. Like, in her mind, Lexi looks like a person in charge.
Boy, is she wrong. She just goes with the flow.
She says, oh, yeah, I recognize you all. You all were the ones who got in my way the other night. It's fine. It's fine. So, I hear you're interested in maybe helping us take the warehouse back.
Yeah, I'm sure you can understand that there were a few more important things happening in that moment. The room did collapse.
Sure.
The warehouse.
She says, so what do y'all want to know? How can we help?
Okay. Somebody remind Rachel what the goal is. Rachel just got out of a church meeting. She can't remember.
But Cyrus's first question would be, how many do they have any idea what's in place at the warehouse currently in terms of opponents?
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure what's there now, because we tried to send a few folks over early on, and they never came back. We try and keep an eye on it. We've seen some people coming and going. Weird combinations of people, too. We've seen these two big
Cats.
no, we've seen these two big sorry, my dog started snoring really loudly. He's like, he's dead center on camera behind the virtual. These two, they're rings of seeming, I guess, are like these silver-haired humans, but
I
It seems like
question?
they're what?
Were they near you that night that we first met?
Uh,
Did they look familiar? I mean, I realized there was a lot going on that night, but
I
do you
mean, to
remember?
be honest, I'm not great at telling Dragonborn apart, but they are also silver.
Okay. We might know who those two are.
Well, we've seen them, and we've seen some. They every couple of days they show up with some new human, and they go in with a human, and the human doesn't come out. But it's weird. It's like I don't really know how like your all's health and squishy stuff works, all those organs
Right,
and
right.
things. They don't look well. Some of them have been really like pale. Some of them have been really skinny. We've seen some really old people, some like some human children.
What are your thoughts about taking down a human trafficking ring? Meaning that the humans are being trafficked.
Would you like a comforting reassurance or an honest lie? Sorry, would you like a comforting lie or honest, unsettling response?
Silas will just let's just say if we can prove, if we have evidence of this, it goes smoother for everybody.
I'm going to be honest. I don't really care about any of that. We just want the warehouse back.
Understandable.
Yeah.
We want the portal. We want the warehouse. We want all these other folks gone. I I know it's like this human thing. You would like me to like feel very strongly about like human children disappearing or something. I
Sorry, oh no. We just need to prove it so that we have the extra plausible deniability so that when we go in and we come back, fewer questions are asked. Fewer questions being asked means it's easier for it to stay in your hands when we're done.
Exactly.
Yes.
We don't want you getting implicated since this is your warehouse. We don't want you getting implicated as being somebody who knows what's going on and knew it was going on and didn't do anything to stop it or allowed it to happen.
I mean, they kicked us out. Like
Exactly. I believe you. I believe you. Just if we're trying to take this, if we want the evidence to eventually go to the right authorities, we need to make sure that you have the plausible deniability that you were kicked out and that these guys were not associated with you.
works for me. Whatever gets us back sooner and easier, I'm all for it.
Sounds good.
Where does the portal go?
It just drops out in a forest. It's kind of on the. It's one of the border territories between summer and winter.
Does that mean it's fall or spring?
Yes.
They're sort of ambiguous about it. There's not like a.
Think of it like a seasonal swamp.
Oh, fun.
And how do we come back through?
I mean, it's like a hole in the air. You walk through one side, you're in Faerie. You turn around, there's the hole. You go back, and you're back in the warehouse.
Okay.
Wouldn't be a very good smuggling portal if it sent you somewhere else.
Well,
True.
just making sure we didn't have to do something special on the ferry side.
Uh, Now that being said, I don't know if anything has changed. When we were using it, only the smallest of us could go back and forth. The portal wasn't big enough to send even someone as big as me through in a stable way over and over. But it seems like they might have done something to it. I mean, I don't know. Maine was always the one who handled all that kind of stuff. And she kind of looks over, and there is a very faint, like, almost pleading, like trying to draw Maine into the conversation and get some kind of response. And Maine just lets out another, like,
What did you do to make her mad?
Banner is just like, the more excited, the more he enjoys this, the more excited he is. Yeah. And he's just like noisily chomping like whole handfuls of peanuts. And so it sounds like someone like smashing walnuts. Like it's so loud. And after a second, there's a scraping of chairs. And then Tyler is also there with his feet kicked up with you can smell the fresh popcorn. Just
See, I actually though pictured Tyler jumping up on the bar so that he could like swing his little feet, like that's.
Oh, he has also pulled a chair up and he has kicked his feet up on a table.
Ah.
He is in like real comfortable mode. Todd is still behind the bar and is not brave enough to show that he's listening. Like any enjoyment he would gain from the drama here is totally offset by the amount of fear he has of Maine. So there's a long, awkward pause. It goes almost silent, and that's when the chair drags up and Tyler joins. And after everyone turns and looks at him for a second, Charles just kind of lets out like a deep sigh, like, I don't know. We, by which I mean Maine, tried to poke at the portal to see if we could get it more stable so we could bring through bigger things. And it just didn't seem worth it. It was going to cost more to push the portal and keep it open like that than it was the benefit we'd get from it. But the fact that they're able to send humans through, apparently, that's new. That's different.
Yeah.
Cyrus will turn to Maine. I think that's so. And ask, what happens if you try to go through and it's not big enough?
Maine very pointedly like looks directly at you and not at Charles at all.
That's fine.
And says, the portals have what are they called? Humans go to them and there's water in like big pipes, but there are also people in the pipes, and the pipes go
water park.
Yes.
I was gonna go with toilets, and then there were people in the pipes.
No, honey, that's the Ministry of Magic.
She says it's sort of like the water running through one of those pipes. The
Okay.
bigger the thing you're trying to push, the more water flow you need, the bigger the pipe you need. If it's wrong, most of the time you just don't go anywhere. If you're close but not quite, you might get stuck for a moment. But you usually still can't pass through. An unstable portal is more dangerous because when there's a fluctuation, you might find yourself split between one place and another.
Okay.
But unless they're killing these humans by shoving them through the portal, it probably isn't truly unstable. However, they've got it jury rigged. I've done the math. It'd cost a fortune to keep it up and running.
So you can
If
tell
your esteemed
if you're on the.
patrons.
Can someone who is powerful enough tell if the threshold isn't big enough for them to come through?
There would be a pull when someone gets too close to the portal. If you get close to the portal and there's no pull, you're probably too big for the portal.
Okay.
Charles has a bit of a wounded look and says, "When did you go to a water park?" Tyler cackles, just fully cackles in the background. And Maine turns and snaps at him and says, "I didn't even want to go. You made me go and shut up." And Banner joins in just like Charlie and Maine are both going a little red in the face.
Quick question, Maine.
She grasps for this desperate lifeline as she is adrift in the awkwardness ocean.
How powerful of a Fae do you think it would need to be to stabilize a portal like that one?
So there's sort of an equation to it. If you're just talking power to power, you always need a bigger Fae, a substantially bigger Fae, than what you're pushing through. That being said, there are workarounds. Someone who sets up the portal correctly will get more efficiency out of it. And especially if they were smart and they didn't tear out what I had built, if they built over it, that would certainly help. But you'd still have to make up for the difference in power somewhere. The what we had looked at was basically it was going to require feeding the portal some kind of magical material constantly.
I know at this point I'm being played by somebody. It's just a question of who.
Yeah.
Cyrus will turn back to Charles. So are there any routes that people take getting to the warehouse? Anybody we could pick off for more information before we go in?
Are you looking for more weirwood people or more like people in the warehouse?
In the warehouse.
So she has for a while now. She has pretty much only seen the two silver dragonborn and the humans going in and out.
Okay.
Now, when you're dealing with the Fae, that doesn't mean anything but that's who they have seen. You will not be surprised to find out that the Weirwood, especially without Maine, skews heavily into the brawn category of magical power and not much on perception, subtlety, arcane knowledge, very sort of archetypal wild fae. They hit stuff.
But it wasn't the Dragonborn who kicked you out in the first place. So who was that?
Is this addressed to Maine or Charles?
Charles.
Charles looks very awkward and says, well, I didn't. And again, she's making like awkward eyes, like, to be honest, I didn't fully follow how it worked. We started getting letters from like human institutions telling us that we had to leave, and then something started attacking our people, and we never saw what it was.
Okay.
Sweet.
Any other questions for Charles and or Maine?
I feel like I should, but I can't come up with them right now.
Yeah, same.
I mean, Cyrus would know this, know to ask this. There's a lot of different ways to enter the warehouse. None of them are going to be great for stealth. There is there are a couple of doors, some that are like individual sized. There's a couple that are like, I mean, probably like 15 by 12 or something. It'd be the equivalent of like a car and a half garage kind of size. And then there's a lot of like loading docks. But those are going to be attached to substantial, like, noisy treads as they go up. There is not much in terms of visibility because people don't build warehouses with a lot of, like, ground floor windows. That being said, it'd be hard for you to know what sort of other possible sentries could be involved. So even if they can't see out a window, like, you know for sure that there would be a lot of, like surveillance magic and things that could be in place.
So even if we wanted to try like going through a vent, magic would probably be informing them.
Yeah, it would. This is just a guess. You don't know for sure. And it would be something you could potentially investigate on site. But it's sort of hard to say until you go see it for yourself.
They have any idea like how is there like a pattern of how often the Dragonborn are bringing people back, or is it random?
Um, it's been as close together as like 3 days, but sometimes it's been like a couple of weeks between. It doesn't seem like there is a consistent pattern.
And just to confirm, is it always the same two Dragonborn, or is it just always a pair?
It's always been a pair.
She cannot say for certain that it's always the same pair. We all look the same to her.
I mean, you also know on some level that like it took you a while to really start distinguishing human faces. The all the things that you look for, like like you can tell sort of the fine gradient differences between like multiple silver dragonborn really easily. You can see things like the very gentle like weathering and fraying that like an older dragonborn has on the edge of each scale. You recognize things like differences in fins and frills. Some have the like, what are they called? They're not just whiskers. They're like the catfish whisker kind of
The
things.
tendrils.
Yeah. It's going to bother me not knowing what those are called. But yeah, like you can recognize all this nuance. Whereas humans at first were just like fleshy things.
It took me 3 weeks to even realize that the face was where to look for differences.
Barbles. Barbles is the phrase we were looking for. Prominent barbles. Oh, geez. There's a sea scorpion called an armored sea robin.
That sounds terrifying.
It has barbels in the shape of like a spiny like push broom. Anyway, you can expect to fight one of those that's 50 feet tall in the Feywild. Back to the topic at hand. Anything else that they might be able to help you with?
Doesn't seem like it at this point. Doesn't mean there won't be something.
It's true.
I mean, I guess unless they're, I would suppose they're camera people. They've got like pictures of the Dragonborn taking the humans in.
No, because they just didn't. They didn't see how that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Knowing our luck, the cameras would just pick up the glamour anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. For the most part, they'll pick up the ring of seeming.
Oh well.
Yeah. I was more just anything to show the sick people going through to provide the necessary cover to Lady Bryn to say, look, we were helping humans on the human side of the gate.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I won't even make you roll for it. With your level of contacts and expertise, you shouldn't have any trouble getting into a security camera network in that part of town, and you can probably find them pretty easy.
Cool.
Like, I imagine the NBI probably has the equivalent of like Google Maps, but with like all of the security cameras marked on it. And you can just like click into one of them pretty easily. Anything that's networked is not hard at all to find. That's actually like a punishment detail for newbie NBI agents, is to like go update the surveillance catalog. And literally they just have to like drive through town being like, there's a camera, there's a camera, there's a camera, there's a camera, and just marking them all down. They might have to go and like plug a little USB drive into one of them somewhere and upload some kind of sketchy software.
Yes.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Think we're good.
All right. I will let you all figure out your exact approach. I'm going to go grab a drink.
Well, he's already heavily hinted that we got to go in loud.
Yep.
On the other hand, I can't just explode the warehouse because they want it back.
It's true.
I was more wondering if we could get them to be loud.
Right.
Mhm.
So like if they go throw open one of the big rolling doors and then we come in from the opposite side.
Right.
They do have a lot of heavy hitters.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things I can't decide is timing. Like,
Right.
do we want to hit it now? Do we want to try to follow back up with the Dragonborn and see what their role in all of this is, or try to catch them away from the warehouse first?
They're definitely silver, right? That's not a question.
No.
Yeah, definitely seems like they are silver as best they can tell.
And just because I imagine this is something that Auric would know, are all the silver dragonborn kind of in one, like, under one leader?
Not necessarily, but we might say the plurality are. There are. It's a good time for me to check my notes. Aha! There are 7 Fae Dragon Lords.
Right.
There are some serving other Dragon Lords, and that spans across winter, summer, and wild. There are some serving others. There are also silver Dragonborn that aren't Fae.
Okay.
Not that you've encountered any, but you're at least theoretically aware of the principles.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Dragonborn are very. I mean, dragons in general are. How do I put it? The essence of dragon blends well with all sorts of other energies. So there are potentially lots of other weird kinds of dragons out there that you have not encountered before, and some of which could be silver,
Gotcha.
as could the Dragonborn.
All right, that was those were the other things Cyrus was going to wonder about. Was do we need to get any gear or anything before we head into winter?
Do we need winter coats? Lexi doesn't know these things.
Oh yeah, I guess y'all don't have scales.
Nope.
Because I think I'm imagining it's going to be hit the warehouse, bust in,
And dive in.
and head straight on through. Yeah. I don't think we're going to be camping out in the warehouse for a night or two before heading in.
Nah.
No.
So if there's anything we need in terms of gear or supplies or fancy baubles to bribe people with.
Bring some souvenir pennies.
So, Colby, would we know if we need like special gear for being in Faerie?
It would depend on what part of Faerie you end up in. Winter and summer are, in some ways, metaphors, but also in Faerie, sometimes metaphors are real. There is an actual heart of winter, which is, as Oric can tell you, must have been very close to where the demand over the Cawthorn Allen Tar and Smith branch sort of exited to. That was very close to the heart of winter. What they've described sounds like almost more like a border territory. That's going to be more. Not to say that the weather will be nice, or the environment will be nice, but to at least say that the weather will not be the most dangerous concern of what you will encounter.
Did you get a sense, Cyrus, for how far Mort might have been?
You got the impression that Mort was not necessarily like right there. Mort was somewhere else on the winter side.
Because I'm wondering if y'all might want to pack food.
Mm,
I would not recommend eating anything you find in Faerie if we're going to be there for a long time.
that's a good point.
Okay.
If you're interested in another sort of informed voice, the Blackthorns would have a lot of information about humans sort of I know how to write this word. I'm not sure how to say it out loud in a way that makes sense. Sortying
Mhm.
Into Faerie.
Okay.
Well, we can always head over to the academy.
Guess a good time is any to ask. Would the Weir Ward be Colby? Would the Weir Ward be willing to be a loud and noisy distraction on one side of the warehouse?
Yeah, that'd be pretty easy.
Okay. I wasn't sure how skittish they were about a fight, knowing that they got beat last time.
I don't think that they would like. I mean, they would probably like start something and then get out of there quick.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, that's sort of the line is like they don't want any more of their people to die, but they are certainly willing to take some risk to get their warehouse back.
Cool. Okay.
So do we want to coordinate with them, like meet us at the warehouse in 2 days? Something like that? We ride at dawn.
We plan at dawn.
I mean, they were what? They were over. They sent them a message, and they were here in an hour. I don't think we have to give them that much heads up notice.
I mean, they are functionally unemployed criminals. It's not like they have a lot going on.
Point.
So I say we check in with Vela, make a supplies run,
Yes.
and then we can go hit that.
Yeah, I'd probably shoot off a quick text to Vela, something to the effect of, I've never thought about this. What would a human need to survive in the Feywild?
The first response is like a lot of just exclamation points and question marks with no words. But you can kind of hear it in your head. It sort of sounds like, huh? What? And then there's a lot of like dot 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 typing, and then it stops, and then it starts, and then it stops, and then your phone rings. Auric?
What are you doing?
Yeah, why would you need to know that?
Tell her I've got a bunch of vacation days saved up.
Cyrus has a bunch of vacation days saved up.
Ha, 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 ha. What are you getting into?
Ask her if she wants to join us.
Oh, just work stuff. Do you want to come?
you're actually going into Faerie.
Potentially.
Where,
For the humans.
Think of the children, Vela.
what children?
The kidnapped children.
Children have been kidnapped?
Maybe.
Um, you hear this like weird burst of static when when Vela let out that heavy sigh. It was like starting to smolder with arcane fire. Hold on a second. Come on. There we go. You hear the long-suffering Barnabas in the background going, "No, not another foot," and then goes, and you realize she has just melted her phone in exasperation. Like literally, her exasperation has filled up with fire magic and melted her smartphone off the side of her face. There is a pause. It goes about 8 minutes, and your phone rings again.
A number you don't recognize this time.
Do you think she's mad?
Bit.
Hi.
I think you need to stop by, and I think maybe we need to talk.
Okay.
See you soon.
So Auric may not be going to Faerie.
Oh. We should probably get there sooner rather than later. Or I should get there sooner rather than later. Y'all want to come?
Sure, sounds like fun. Tyler, pop more popcorn.
Todd turns around to start doing that, and excuse me, Tyler and Banner both get up like they're gonna follow you all so they can watch this. And Maine is just like, sit down. And they both kind of like.
Random question. What time of day is it?
Let me think what y'all did last time. So you had that appointment with Argent. Then he went to the embassy afterwards, right?
Yep.
It's probably solidly into the afternoon. You're probably getting on towards like 3 or 4 o'clock.
Okay. Second question. Did I touch a light post near the academy?
I think so.
Excellent. It's close enough to dusk that I can just spin this frivolously.
All right. Is this the first time we have seen the Cloak of the Concrete Runner in action?
I think it is.
Are you like whipping it out right now?
Yeah, I just kind of pull it out and how's this thing work?
Charles looks at Maine with absolute heartbreaking betrayal. I got you that cloak.
I turn again to Charles.
I didn't realize they were still here.
What is wrong with you?
Maine says, just go. I'll deal with this.
Come on, guys. Just come on. I walk out front and find a lamp post. And just...
Yeah. Lexi, meanwhile, is doing the Matthew hands from the Da Vinci. What did you do? My dad always played Matthew when they did that little skit for the Last Supper. So dad would just randomly go into like before dabbing was a thing. Tab is doing his own version.
I was almost imagining more of like the Jurassic World Velociraptor hands, like
Yeah.
yeah. You, as soon as the door shuts behind you, you hear the sound of like raised voices. And after a minute, like Todd comes out, and the two other Fae come out, and they all stand there really awkwardly, and then a little bit longer, there is like an arcane like snap and an explosion sound, and Tyler and Banner come out like smoldering slightly, and then the voices continue inside.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go now.
That's our cue to go from one relationship issue to another.
So the magic of the cloak sort of like swirls up around you all. Um, and the cloak goes from, it doesn't even look like a physical item, even when it's like being worn. And even less so as the magic sort of runs through it. It sort of billows out and is sort of swirling around you all. And it's just these vague impressions of like glass and incandescent lights and concrete, and the impression of like cars, like car lights moving in the dark, and it all sort of swirls around you. And when you touch the light post, you and then you all pop back into existence on the grounds of, or actually just outside the grounds of the Blackthorn Academy. Very much startling one of the apprentices on sort of watch duty. But honestly, it's not the weirdest way people come in and out. What are you going to say?
I said, come on, like you've never seen magic before.
Yeah, I'll say, not the weirdest thing they've ever seen. And not that Auric wouldn't draw attention anyway, but after there was exactly one time that one of the like gate guards, who was an apprentice on a punishment duty, they wouldn't let you inside, and someone had to go get Barnabas, who had to go get Vela, and Vela made it very clear to everyone that you were to be allowed inside. So you are known at this point in varying shades of famous and infamous.
You were escorted in this time.
You do notice as the cloak kind of like shrinks back into its normal proportion, it looks decidedly less magical. And you know, sort of, have you used it before? So you don't know. You can just see at the edges, it starts to kind of like regain that quality. And it will have recharged by the time the streetlights come on.
Which means I can take us back home because we don't have a car.
Yep. Don't pay for parking, but also stuck. So you all are allowed inside. Vela is waiting very impatiently.
I got here faster than expected, though.
There are some like nicer sort of separate buildings that are for some of like the on-campus living, like professors and things. A lot of them have homes in the city, but Vela, up until recently, has never really considered not living on campus because commuting is silly. So she's got a fairly nice place there and sort of leads you all off in that direction. you again recognize sort of the faint telltale uh, literal smolder coming off of her she's wearing these very like sensible shoes, um, but there's just the faintest scorched outline being left with every step, like not the whole footprint but just like right around the edge. And she's maybe like Vela's in really good shape, and so like walking across campus she would not be out of breath, but she's huffing a little bit in her frustration, and you can see it kind of like sparking a little. You are reminded of some red and gold dragonborn uh, that you have met, and Vela sort of lets you in. And the house is a very different style than the rest of campus. The rest of the campus is very like college-y is sort of the vibe. This almost looks like a touched up, slightly modernized version of the brownstone house that you all know that her father lives in. It's very similar style. It looks like someone basically like recreated it. Something very similar. And she sort of brings you all inside and turns around and says, "Okay. First, welcome. It's so good to see you two. I know it's not been that long, but it's welcome to my house. Glad to have you. And you, why are you asking about going to Faerie? What is happening? What is going on?"
Short answer is unhelpful. But the short answer is human trafficking. Working to stop it.
Okay, give me like 8 more words on human trafficking.
I don't know if I can do it in 8.
We think it's his stupid cousins.
There are 2 possibilities because y'all humans are terrible at telling dragonborns apart. Either it's my 2 stupid cousins or it's a couple of other stupid cousins.
DM parenthetical. Charl is also Fae. She's just a different kind of Fae.
Right.
So the Fae are trafficking humans.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That is a big deal.
Possibly a connection with the cat lawyers that have been coming after us.
Yes.
Okay. So, why are you specifically handling this?
It kind of got dumped on us.
Because it's the right thing to do.
Because I think the cat lawyers also took a friend of mine.
That's what I was looking for. Okay. All right. I can't let the 3 of you go by yourselves.
Okay.
If it's not me, someone needs to go with you. Okay, things you need. Food is not a bad idea.
I knew that one.
Eating food in Faerie, in general, as long as it is not exceptionally magical or specifically poison, or any of the normal everyday reasons you don't want to eat a plant, or something from there. Most of that is probably okay in small amounts. If you're going to be there for a while, you don't want to let all that magic build up in your system. That being said, you're from there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure what you are, and I don't know that the fiery light thing you have going on will even let you be sort of poisoned by fey magic. So it might be a moot point. But definitely don't accept food from anyone. There's a lot that goes with that, and that's often when things go very wrong. Politely decline, depending on how powerful the person offering is. Perhaps decline extra politely. Offer excuses. Oh, I'm sorry, we just ate. I'm very full. I am fasting for religious reasons. Something that upholds the honor of your host. It's not good. It will not earn you any friends, but if you can lay your hands on some cold iron and a way to transport it, that's not a bad idea. There are going to be things there that it's about the only equalizer we have. There are things there that are going to be functionally unkillable if you don't bring cold iron. Food and water, cold iron.
We bring too much. Is there any sort of like diplomatic incident of we brought too much iron in?
Trafficking goods across the border, customs agents.
Maybe just don't make the cold iron obvious.
Yeah, you'll need something to carry it in through the portal anyway. If you try and bring it in directly, you'll probably have issues. But if it's secured inside something, you're probably fine. Especially anything. Do you all have any sort of like magical storage?
Not portable, I don't think.
Do we not? I could have sworn we did.
I'll say I would swear up and down you all had a bag of holding at some point, but I don't
Yeah, I
see
think
it
I
now.
have it. I think I had it.
I do swear you all had one at one point. I don't know.
I could have sworn I had it at one point, that I was the one carrying it.
Okay, you all definitely bought one.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I kept a record.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and drop that back in your inventory.
Okay.
There we go.
And I don't think Cyrus would tell Vela necessarily that they have it, but he's specifically wondering about the rod they got off of Aaron Blake. Like, I'm not sure if is taking something like that into Faerie the equivalent of like walking in with a briefcase bomb.
It'd be a lot different if we just took some metal from took some old iron handrails or something.
Well, like we got the 2 pieces of jewelry.
Yeah. That's true.
So
Um, yeah, it would definitely be like substantially worse, to be honest. That being said, it it does have a lot of power. It would be a major asset. Like lesser Fae aren't necessarily going to be a threat unless you encounter them in large number. But the ability to sort of secure unquestioned assistance anywhere you go, that would be huge because they are everywhere.
Just instantly generate hatred from the entire native population.
Yeah.
All right, so sleep on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could always open the book and gain an instant level of Warlock. That would be helpful.
All right, so chaperone, food.
Chaperone, food, cold iron.
Okay.
There's a lot of unusual dangers. Another way to think of it is that not all of Faerie, but certainly parts of it are essentially outdoor dungeons. So you might experience any number of sort of unusual conditions. Think of the most extreme sorts of camping on Earth. It's not Earth, whatever it is, in this world. And then add things like, reality warping Fey mushroom spores. Things like
Literal,
that.
literal acid rain.
Yes. It's also possible I probably couldn't just take it, but if we could theoretically lay down some gold marks and buy some things from different parts of the Blackthorn family that might be useful. I try not to personally make any of those sorts of things because they make me very uncomfortable. And also, I don't like leaving things laying around my lab or home that will light Auric on fire if he touches them.
Appreciate it.
But there are some anti-Fey magics in various forms that might be good to have. As a parenthetical, while you're there, you could also, and we could resolve this sort of off screen. The Blackthorns would be one group of people who could potentially help you uncurse some of your magic items. They would also potentially be people who could offer possible upgrades for lose. I don't know that it's interesting enough to do sort of on camera.
Right.
But either of those are things you could do as well.
Okay.
So I think to close out, we have sort of a montage of you all sort of going about various parts of these tasks, purchasing sort of camping food, a lot of things that are like various foods pressed into bars in wrappers.
Mhm.
Stashing that and camping gear and sort of various supplies into the bag of holding. Making sort of any arrangements need to make around town. Probably Lexi like giving Woody and Caleb some instructions for while you're going to be gone.
Mhm.
Maybe a little bit of like, sort of sitting around a table with like a blueprint of the warehouse with the weir word on the other side, like marking out your sort of battle plan. So we'll text some of those details back and forth, and so was next Monday one of the ones we were gonna have a conflict?
Next Monday's Memorial Day weekend.
Um,
But I know John said
Conference isn't until is middle of June.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, June 13th.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything going on next week.
Cool.
No, we don't have anything assigned.
Then we'll try to have all of our ducks in a row, and we'll pick up with raiding the warehouse.
All right.
All right.
All right. I'm going to kill our recording,
Recording stopped.
kill our stream. Bye, Internet.
Bye, internet.